Hello, this is Davis. This is my demonstration video on making infographics. If you want to get in contact with me after watching this video, you can leave a comment, go back to my resume, send me an email, call, message me on LinkedIn, or even my Substack. Thanks. Hello, my name is Davis Eckert, and today I'm going to show you how I remade this infographic. This is from visualcapitalist.com. I chose this one for a few reasons. One, it has a map on it, which makes it a little bit more tricky than if it was just a bar line pie chart with some nice text and colors. Also, I chose this one because it has islands, which makes it doubly difficult for getting the coloring, but I can show you some shortcuts to do that. And lastly, I am actually writing an article on Southeast Asia. So you can see all my infographics, all my Tableau and Power BI dashboards, as well as my articles and writing style all on Substack. So we're going to start from complete scratch. I'm going to move my recording to the side. I do have 3 monitors here, but I'm going to do all my work on the one that I'm recording here. I don't think anyone's going to watch this entire video, but feel free to skip around and I'll just narrate what I'm doing as I go through. And this should take me less than 30 minutes. I'll do a rough draft, and then to go back in and polish it up to make it look exactly like this would probably take another 20 minutes. Okay, so we're going to start from scratch. I'm going to go into Power BI to start. And we're going to try and make it as close to this one as possible. So we're going to start with a blank report. Nothing on there, and we're going to go to their maps. They use one of their maps options is a company called ArcGIS, which I like to use. We're going to continue as a guest. This is all free. Anyone can use this and download it. So here's a blank map. It looks pretty good. Let's find our, let's bring up our template so we can kind of compare the two. We're using light grayscale when we need a dark grayscale, but we can change that. We're going to put on some random, like I was saying before, the islands kind of make things difficult. So I'm just going to put some random data on here just to get some color, because we can go in and change the color later, just make everything a lot faster. So I'm going to put an ASEAN here, which is just like the EU for Southeast Asia. And then these are just arbitrary data points, just so I can get some color on the map. This one is, I think this is hydrology, hydro basin. This one shows all the provinces, so this isn't what I'm looking for. I just want the entire country. Let's try forest cover. There you go. So now, as you can see, we're already starting to get somewhat close to our template. We got to change the colors and put in all the, data points and everything, but this is a good start. So ArcGIS actually has a website that will have a few more tools that we can use, so we might as well just do all of this on their website, and I'll show you that it looks exactly the same. So just type in ArcGIS, go to our map viewer. Again, this is free, anyone can use this. And let's go to their base maps. This is the one we were using. As you can see, it looks the same. This is Power BI, and then this is their website. And they also have a dark gray canvas, which is closer to what our template is. So this is a good place to start. Now, if you zoom in, this is another thing that makes maps tricky, is depending on what your settings are, the DPI, you can see all these roads and borders, and you can see a lake, and there's the Mekong River, which is not on the map that we want to use. So this is what I was referring to when it's a little bit more tricky, because you have to kind of dumb the data down so you don't see the rivers and everything else, and you don't want these city names. So we're gonna have to edit some stuff. So let's bring in that data point that we just used on Power BI. Again, it's just a random data point, so I can get some color on the map and edit it later. So this is like Tableau Public. Once you put some data on there, it's just on the internet and anyone can open it. And we were using forest cover, I believe. Let's add that to the map, see what it looks like. And there you have it. This is the exact same as our Power BI. Same exact thing. So one problem that we have, other than islands with a map, we have to get rid of these city names and all these reference marks. So you're gonna go to base map, and then get rid of the reference marks. And we want to use the dark gray without the reference marks. Okay, so as you can see, we're kind of getting somewhere. We just got to change all the colors, download it, and we'll be on our merry way. So let's go to print. I'm going to print this out as a PNG just because it supports transparency. I'm also going to download it with 32-bit, and then I can always shrink it down to 8 or 16 later, so it's easier to export. So let's get it to about, I think the DPI is fine. That's basically the detail on the map. I think I want roughly this area. Looks like our template. You can see the very top of Australia and just a sliver of India and Japan. Okay. I think this is roughly where we want to be. So let's go ahead and print this out. And then we'll put it into GIMP. I'm going to use GIMP, which is kind of like my Photoshop. Pop that open, GIMP 3. So this is the download. I need to get rid of this accolades at the bottom, but we'll do all that here shortly. So this is my GIMP. I'm going to start with a fresh page, put that at the top here, and then whip open our browser, and then we just need to download this. So we can save this as ABC video sample. Let's call it Southeast Asia. Okay, so there we have it. And this is my GIMP. This is my Adobe Photoshop, basically. And I'm just going to pull that picture we just downloaded, and now we can start editing. So let's go look at our reference. Looks kind of close. Let's start changing some of these colors. First, we got to get rid of, let's crop out this text at the bottom. We don't really need Southeast Asia. I'm going to do a little bit of a crop. Okay, and the first thing I want to do is probably just start changing some of these colors. I think that would be a good place to start. So I'm going to use my color picker here because some of these countries are conveniently the same color that we want. They're the same religion. For example, this is Indonesia and Malaysia. They're both pink for Islam. So I can just use the color picker, and that's kind of my cheat to get around the islands. But I'll show you here in a second. You can also use the fuzzy tool. So since I have all the same color picked, now we can go and find a color. We want pink. Let's find ourselves a pink. And we're kind of gonna have to make it a little lighter. It looks like it's kind of a faded pink. To try and make it like this. And then we can just use our bucket tool. And there you go. So we're getting somewhere. I can make that a tad bit lighter. And that's good enough for this video. I can always touch it up later when I'm doing my fine tuning. We can do color picker again for Philippines. And Philippines is going to be yellow for Christianity. So let's go find the yellow. Kind of lighten it up a bit. Looks like it's kind of a pastel. And there you go. We have pastel Philippines. It looks like Vietnam's the same thing. Now I'll show you, if this wasn't conveniently the same colors, I'll show you how to get around that too. Let's just do the for the Buddhism. So let's go ahead and hit Vietnam next, also Christian. Okay, so now let's say that the last ones are all Buddhist, but let's just say they weren't Buddhist. Let's say I wanted, Cambodia and Laos and Thailand, different colors. I could just use the fuzzy tool. So even though Laos and Thailand are the same color, I can actually change Lao to be, I'm trying to get a blue. It's kind of like a cyan color. Lighten that up a bit. And there you go. So even though Lao was the same color, I don't have to use the color picker tool. But the color picker tool is pretty nice. So we can just use the fuzzy tool, or let's just use the color picker and pick the last ones. So I want this one, I want this one, and I want them all to be cyan. There you go. So now we got the colors solved already. That was pretty easy. Now we're gonna have to do the text, and we're gonna have to put in these little symbols. We got a Christian cross, Islamic crescent, and we've got a Dharma wheel. So I'll show you how to do the Dharma wheel. Let's do Clipartlibrary, and we are gonna go grab ourselves a Dharma wheel. Looks like this one's the closest one. Let's say that one's good enough. So we're gonna have to change the color, make sure it has a transparent background. And so I'll show you how to do all that. It shouldn't be that hard. We're just gonna save this one in the same place. Let's call it Dharma wheel. And we're gonna have to get the size right as well. So show me where that is. Show me where my GIMP is. And then just throw the Dharma wheel on there. Okay, as you can see, it doesn't have a transparent background, and it's the wrong size and everything else. So let's go ahead and start editing. First, we're going to want to make sure it has an alpha channel. So I think I imported it as a JPEG, but I need it to be a PNG to get the alpha channel in there. And we can go ahead and fuzzy tool. And then we can invert that and just erase the background. Ta-da, there you go. And then we're going to deselect. So now we got the background gone, and now I want it to be, yeah, it's going to be cyan as well. I erased it on accident. There you go. Let's bring our map back. And so now we're kind of getting somewhere. As you can see, we got our colors. We've got one of the symbols. I'm going to do the same thing for the other symbols, but nobody wants to see that, so I already did it. So we'll be a little faster on the next symbols. This one is the wrong size. So let's scale this down. Let's say still a little smaller, maybe like 70, somewhere around there. That'll work. Let's see, where am I? Yeah, it's pretty small on this infographic. Okay, so I'm going to need one. Let's lock this in place so it's not crawling all over the place. There you go. Let's look at my reference once again. Looks like it was over here, over here, over here. I got like 3 of them. So select my Dharma wheel, and then we're going to want to duplicate this a couple times. One's going to be up here. And there's going to be one for Cambodia, one for Laos, and they have one for Singapore, but we're not going to do Singapore or Brunei because they're not taking place in the article that I'm writing. Okay, so there's one, same process for the other two, but I'm going to skip that process and just because I already did it when I did this for real. Again, the nice one's going to be on my Substack, so you can just go there and look at it. So here's all three of them. I'll put the cross up on here. That's the wrong color. So let's change that. Did I not add alpha channel? Fuzzy selected. That solves that problem. And it looks like it's a little big too, so I'm gonna have to scale this thing down. How about that? Can we live with that? I think we can live with that. So let's look at our reference. So it's right off the Philippines. We got one and another one from Vietnam. So we're gonna want to duplicate this. There we go. Okay, so the last one is we've got our Dharma wheel, we've got our cross. We're going to need to do the Islamic crescent. Let's pull on our Islamic crescent. It's in black, so we're going to need to paint that. So I think I can do color select on this one. Well, I'll just do fuzzy tool. And then color select, we'll use the same pink. And then bucket fill. There you go. Also, we're going to need this shrunken down. Layer, scale. Down we go. Okay, so we're starting to get somewhere. So we need one for Indonesia. Let's keep looking at our reference. Indonesia, Malaysia, and we don't need Brunei. So I just need two. It's still a little bit large. Good enough. Go ahead and duplicate this one. Take it to Malaysia. And yeah, so you can see that we're kind of getting to where we want to be. We gotta move these around a few times, but it's definitely looking not too bad. So now we're gonna do the text, which, as you'd expect, is kind of the easy part. So we're gonna start off with Southeast Asia's major religions. Let's get tools, text. Let's make a text box. So it's a little bit large. It's using the same yellow from my Christian countries. South East Asia's, and then we can always change the font here. They've got like a bazillion fonts, but I'm not going to go hunting for that right now because this is just a demonstration. Okay. Now we're going to make another one. This is the big one. This is major religions. And we're going to want that massive by the looks of things. And we can move that up just a tad. Maybe shrink it a hair. There you go. So it looks kind of like where we're getting at. I think we need to move it to the side. There you go. This one needs to also go to the side. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so that kind of looks like what we're going for. I need to move them closer together and everything else, but you get the idea. That's why I said just another 20 minutes to polish it up. And now we're going to need three things right here. I'm going to need Islam, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian. largest, what's that say? Largest religious group in each country. So that's another text box. Largest religious. Forgot how to write religious. I got it right the first time. Okay. Group in each country. Okay. And that's going to be 2 lines. And we can center that one. And then looks like there's an outline. Looks like they have big outlines, so we can leave the outline on there. There you go. It kind of looks like what we were using. Same outline. I don't know if they used GIMP. They might have to make this, but on their website they say they used Photoshop, but looks like our results are about the same. So crescent moon, we're going to need another one of these. Let's duplicate that. And then it's going to be the Buddhist Dharma wheel. Duplicate that. And then the last one is our cross. So we can duplicate that. GIMP is also free software, by the way. If you weren't aware. But there's Inkscape, there's a bunch of ones that do this kind of stuff. Okay, so I need to make a few more text boxes to make it look like this one. I'm just going to put in Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, and then call it a day for this video, because I think you already get the idea of what I'm doing here. Muslim, let's make another one, call this one Christian. Wasn't looking where I was typing. We want this to be here. And this one, the last one is going to be Buddhist. Okay. Alrighty. And then our colors are all wrong. So that's one thing that we need to change. Color picker. And then get that kind of there. Okay, so yeah, we're pretty much done. This is my infographic. This is where we started. And they look pretty close. Let's see if I can get a side-by-side comparison here. There's this one, and then there's this one, and this one needs to be shrunk down. Okay, so you can see that we're pretty close. We're pretty close. I think that turned out okay. So then, once again, my name is Davis, and if you need any infographics or anything like this on your, your social media pages or your research articles or whatever, then go ahead and let me know. Thank you very much.